Good morning, everyone. I'm Grayson. As many of you know, I am Evie's brother. Ever since we were little, I've always tended to follow in my sister's footsteps. When we were younger, we played pretend a lot. And I remember how she would give oddly bossy instructions for a 6-year-old. The conversation would go something like this. Evie would say, "I'm making breakfast." And immediately the next words out of her mouth would be, "Tell me you want toast." And of course, I'd respond word for word, "I want toast." Just whatever would help. It would be more if she would play pretend and I'd be there. My parents also love to bring up how I owe my sister because of the Bushes story. When I was little, like 3 or 4 months old little, it was my first time at Grand Cayman, and we were at a wildlife sanctuary. Our mom was in the middle of posing with a baby sea turtle, and I was left in my stroller not far from her. In the brief moment I was left not being the center of attention, my stroller had rolled about 3 feet backwards and tipped over into a bush. And my parents say they remember this very vivid moment of my sister yelling, "Grayson's in the bushes." To this day, my parents still joke around about how I owe my life to my sister because of the Bushes story. No matter how many fights we have and how bossy she can be, seeing her prepare for college worries me because I know deep down that I'll miss her. And I'm proud of her, and I'm proud to introduce my sister, Evie.
Hello. Okay. Most people know what a minimalist is. Someone who likes simple decor, recipes with only a few ingredients, or only wears simple clothes. Less is more. That is definitely not me. The term I like to use to describe myself is a maximalist. If you've never heard of it before, let me sum it up for you in one simple phrase. More is more. More color, more chaos, more everything. I've been told that a good senior speech is reflective, inspirational, and concise. But being a maximalist, I decided to focus on the first two and completely disregard the third. I mean, why use 10 words if you could use 50 and a convoluted metaphor? I'll start off with my magnum opus, the Everything Binder. For the uninitiated, the Everything Binder is exactly what it sounds like. A single binder that contains every scrap of paper, every worksheet, every doodle, and possibly the secret to life, the number 42. It all started freshman year when I realized traditional organization like a folder or even a second binder was simply not my style. So, in a stroke of genius or hubris, I declared, why not just shove everything into one place? And thus, the Everything Binder was born. Need a math worksheet from sophomore year? It's in there. That one group project I absolutely ignored in AP Lang? Also in there. A sketch of a cat wearing a monocle I drew during an AP physics discussion I definitely should have been paying attention to. You guessed it. Over the years, my teachers have had varied reactions to my binder. Some laughed, some cringed, and some, like Mr. Stern, just stared at me in resigned despair. The label on the front of the binder reads everything in hasty Sharpie. It's not exactly the Sistine Chapel, but I like to think it has its own charm. Every year, I've replaced the old with a new one, but the system and the chaos remain the same. Sure, it's not perfect. It takes me 15 minutes to find a single piece of paper, and I've definitely handed in assignments with mystery stains. I still don't know what spilled in there or what pen exploded sophomore year, but it had an odor. To me, though, the Everything Binder is more than a messy file system. It is a living, breathing record of high school. Among the things found in its pages are my successes and my many failures. Not to mention my very imaginative illustrations of cows wearing bow ties. It is an actual catastrophe, but at least it's mine. However, this embrace the mess philosophy goes well beyond the binder. Let's talk about my hair. Over the years, I've dyed it every color imaginable. Blue, green, red, blonde, and a particularly unfortunate shade I like to call radioactive swamp water. There was one time it was actually all of the above in intermingled stripes. My shower walls will never be white again. Ever every color represented some phase of my personality. You could call it a bold choice, or you could call it a mistake. Red for when I was feeling daring, blue for when I was feeling mysterious. Side note, I was not actually very mysterious. And blonde for an experiment in reinvention. It's the tomato of my dye history, best left to interpretation. But I didn't want my personality to be defined by my hair color. The fact I looked like the annoying orange junior year was not doing me any favors. So now my hair is back to black. Nothing flashy, no neon signs, which I think is a phase in and of itself. I shall title it my adult phase, though we all probably know it's not. My hair has always told the story I wanted it to tell. Well, except for green. Green told a story I'd rather forget. My hair was something that I was willing to take on, while my room, on the other hand, my room stands as a silent testament to the things I'm not quite ready to confront. It's the stuff of legends, or nightmares, depending on who you ask. My mom thinks it looks like something out of a serial killer movie. My friends tend to agree. To me, it's just my room. Voltron posters, My Little Pony figures that I'm definitely not too old to still have, random trinkets I probably bought at 3 a.m. on Etsy, that one hollow Gengar card I had to have in the 2nd grade even though I didn't know what the heck a Gengar was, etc., you get the point. I could already see the documentary title, Evie's Room, a dumpster fire of morally ambiguous items that should never see the light of day. Yet, somehow, this chaotic shrine to my past remains sacred, even if it is only sacred to me and a very few forgiving friends who are brave enough to venture inside. I'm being so honest when I say only 2 people from school have ever seen this elusive space I call my room. It's just that mystical. And while my room is a microcosm of chaos, it is also a museum of my ever-growing collections. Each one representing how I have changed, as you might put it. I started young with Swinkies, those tiny rubber toys and vending machine bubbles that felt like priceless treasure and doubled as choking hazards. Then came Pokemon cards, which I collected without having any idea on how to play the game, because let's be so for real, who does? Skylanders followed, little figurines that were both video game characters and perfect for stepping on in the dark. From there, I moved on to squishies, because nothing says inner peace like a stress toy shaped like a panda donut. Then there were pop figures with their soulless beady eyes that took up too much space in their little boxes. Eventually, I graduated to anime figures and keychains, and now I'm in my final phase, enamel pins. You know, those things with the pointy backs that you live in fear that one day you will step on and impale your foot? Yeah, those. And while all of these things are not necessities or things I would try to save in a fire, they are still important to me. Some might call it hoarding, but I prefer to think of it as a curation. After all, who doesn't need a hollow Gengar card they don't know how to use? But here's the thing. The hair, the binder, my room, I've learned that it is okay for everything not to be organized. Life is messy, and that's okay. The mess is where the good stuff happens. It's where you find that missing homework assignment, stumble upon an old doodle that makes you laugh, or dye your hair a color that leaves your friends questioning your sanity. So, I'm leaving the high school behind, taking the spirit of the everything binder with me. Not the actual binder, because at this point it's held together by duct tape and sheer willpower, but the idea. Because in the end, the chaos isn't just clutter. It's what makes me, well, me. The idea that it is okay for life to be a little disorganized, a little chaotic, and a lot colorful.
Our second speaker today is Lily Burckle. Lily will be introduced by Madam Heilman.
I am thrilled to introduce Lily Burckle. Many of you know her as a compassionate, thoughtful, and generous friend and classmate, and she's all of those things, but those of us who know her best know there's much more to her. Lily knew very well when she asked me to introduce her that I would seize the opportunity to roast her just a little. Indeed, that's why she really asked me to talk. So I hope you're ready, Lily. Lily is a strong student who cares deeply about her work and meeting all her teachers' expectations. So much that one evening I received an email from her, and she had missed my class the day before, and she needed to make up some work. Well, I received this email on a Saturday evening at 9:30, and this wasn't any normal Saturday evening. This was the evening of prom. And I knew for a fact that Lily was at prom and wearing a beautiful dress and spending time with her friends and sitting in the corner on her phone, emailing me about her homework. So I responded back and said, Lily, it's prom night. Go have fun with your friends. Don't worry about homework. Come see me Monday morning. And go have fun. I received a response not seconds later that said, Madam Hoban, thank you, but respectfully, I do what I want. That's Lily, straightforward and strong-minded. Lily also has a bit of a dark side to her personality that not everybody gets to see. For her career path, she's been considering 2 different options over the last few years. The first one is in the field of neuroscience, which gives her the potential to help so many people. But if truth be known, it's the idea of dissecting brains that is appealing to Lily. For many of us, that would be a terrifying and scary experience, but for her, it's thrilling and exciting. Her other option that she's been considering is in dermatology. She'd love to follow in the path of her favorite YouTuber, Dr. Pimple Popper. There you go. Lily is a sweet, empathetic, and understanding friend who will do anything for you, but you'll always have to know that underneath that exterior, there's a highly independent and slightly sadistic person who doesn't hesitate to, or doesn't worry about hurting people. So, it's true, right? She's brought a smile to my face so many times over the years. And seriously, no matter what career path she takes, she's going to do incredible things. And for those of you who are lucky to know her as a friend or know her in the future as a friend, she is the most kind and loyal and empathetic human you'll ever meet. So please welcome Lily to the stage.
I am the youngest child of 3. I grew up in a home where all of the rules and beliefs had been set. I have often wondered who I would be without the influence of my siblings and friends. I have always shared interests and hobbies with my loved ones, but I have wondered whether my passions would be developed through my personal tastes alone. That got me thinking about all the things that my family and friends have encouraged me to get into. I share my love of movies from my brother. When I was younger, I did anything I could to spend time with him. You might think that the massive age difference of 9 years between us would deter me from hanging out with him, but you'd be wrong. I attached myself to him with an iron grip. Anywhere he was, I wanted to be, even if he was playing the most grotesque video games or watching movies that burned horrific images into my mind. Film was an art form that I could get behind. He introduced me to movies that would become some of my favorites of all time. Whether it was one of the weirdest things I'd ever had the displeasure of seeing, like Thanksgiving, or a movie like Waves that has forever changed me. These movies, no matter how stupid or heartbreaking they happen to be, comfort me. This love of film my brother has instilled in me has afforded me a new way to pursue creativity and still find comfort in movies even after watching them so much there's a household ban on them. I share my love of music with my sister. When I was a freshman and sophomore and my sister junior and senior, she drove me to everything, whether it was school, practice, or something with my friends. Driving with her became my favorite part of the day. After school, she would put down the windows, blast music, and speed home. And occasionally we would circle around the block so we could finish just another song or 2. The drives effectively changed my mood, even after having to wake up my sister, sometimes even twice, every single morning. And despite my efforts, she still managed not to come downstairs until 8 to 8:05, which meant we were always running late, my worst nightmare. She even went so far as to make specific playlists entitled Driving with Chickadee for these drives, even though the playlist only includes one song out of about 40 that I actually like. I miss those days of driving with Winnie, but I've come to love driving myself. And I carry on these traditions with my friends whenever I drive with them or when I'm by myself. Anywhere I go, I play music and roll down the windows to remember those times with my sister now that she's away in college. If you know me, you know that I listen to a lot of music. Music has helped shape me as a person. It is one of the only things that can help me focus or relax. Music has been a constant for me for so long that I can't imagine life without it, and I can't help but thank my sister for this relationship she has helped foster. I share my love of crew with Gabby. I, along with Gabby and Evie, joined the crew team in 6th grade. It quickly became my favorite sport. My appreciation for the sport grew as we all evolved and improved ourselves. In reality, my love of the sport stems from the relationships I formed while on the team, like that with Gabby and my beloved Coach Taft. His support and encouragement are what kept me going through never-ending practices, but he died and he took my love for the sport with him. While I have been slowly rebuilding my relationship with crew, I would never be where I am today without Gabby. I share my love of science with Emmy. I have always loved science in a way, but before high school, I was never able to explore the subject. While we both love slightly different aspects or subjects, one thing in particular that we both love is baking. For me, baking is immensely relaxing. Baking is a science. It is exact, and that, in a way, has always been a source of comfort, as there is no way you could mess something up if you follow the instructions. With Evie, it is much easier to find our differences than our similarities. We are two parts of a whole. She's honestly my better half, and that is why we don't really share a love for one particular thing, because we share too many to list. She's helped me to better understand myself and what I hate by exploring the limitations of our similarities by experimenting with her own personal interests. From Kendall, I've stolen her amazing taste in TV shows. This all started in 7th grade when Kendall and I were in the same advisory, the Lit Learleys, and we became fast friends. As our friendship evolved, she recommended me a show or 5 to watch, and I started each and every one of them. The key word being started. I know that it's a little ridiculous that I have yet to make it past the first season and all but one of them after 7 years, but I promise the day that I finally finish one of them is soon. The memories I have formed through these shared activities are what make me love them. I procrastinate watching shows, movies, and listening to new songs so often, not because I don't like them, because I know that if I am watching or listening to them with someone else, I will value them so much more. While I love crew, movies, music, TV shows, and baking, having fun and spending time with my friends and family, doing our favorite things is what makes them fun and worth spending time doing. Their love and our shared interests have now become the foundation of who I am. My loved ones will always be a part of me, no matter how far apart we end up and where we choose to start our own lives, because of these traditions we have built together, and for that, I am eternally grateful. These moments have allowed me to realize the importance of embracing our shared interests and the impact they have made on me, as those moments of connectedness are what truly matter.
Our third speaker today is Roman Sierpina. Roman will be introduced by his brother, Joe.
Good morning. One thing that is so great about Roman is he likes to be the underdog. His whole time at collegiate, he has been an underdog. He's put himself in underdog scenarios since freshman year in cross country and in school. I remember vividly freshman year, I was on a run with Roman and he said, "I want to quit running and play basketball." Or the time when he realized collegiate wasn't going to be easy after he got a 59 on one of Mr. Carr's first biology tests of the year. One of my first thoughts when Roman said he was going to play basketball was, really? Roman playing basketball? Yeah, right. That's like LeBron James doing gymnastics. That wasn't the point, though. Every day I saw Roman work harder and harder and harder. If that meant going into Mr. Carr's class every day in the morning and getting extra help, that's what he would do. By the way, Mr. Carr, I'm sorry. I know it can be a lot, especially in the morning. Everybody forgot about Roman, but Roman didn't forget about himself. He worked harder every day, as hard as he could. Now Roman finished his collegiate career with all A's and B's. Roman went from being the 300 best runner in Kentucky to being one of the best runners in Kentucky. So far, Roman has 6 state titles and hopefully can add some more this year. Roman is going to his dream school and accomplish what he said he was going to do freshman year. Go to a great academic college and a great running program. Roman, even though sometimes you can be a lot, I will miss you next year. All I have to say now is what 50 Cent once said, "Hate it or love it, the underdog's on top." Now introducing the true underdog, Roman Sierpina.